This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Yes, this is the second video of the day, and if you missed the first video of the day, don't worry. That's because YouTube has suppressed it, and the whole point to doing a second video is to let you know that there is another video that I did earlier today that YouTube doesn't want you to see. And I think it has a lot to do with the UK putting restrictions on anybody who talks about the so-called issues that are going on in the country right now, specifically when it comes to a certain group of people who want to get rid of, people who love the West and freedom, if you know what I'm talking about. Obviously, I'm refraining from using certain words because I do think they are being flagged and videos are purposely being suppressed. It's nothing new, but it looks like it's happening again if you talk about certain topics which involve the illegal people coming over to conquer the UK. You know what I mean? But in any event, the video that I did before this one, if you didn't check it out, it is going over the stupid op-ed that Harry wrote about his beloved country being divided. This video, though, is covering an article that was brilliantly written by the Jewish Chronicle, which openly mocks Prince Harry for stepping up and thinking that what he has to say is going to actually make a difference. I would go ahead and check that one out first before you listen to what the Jewish Chronicle had to say, because it is scathing. But in any case, help the kid out. Please hit the like button and share. YouTube is suppressing certain videos, and it all has to do with this government control that is going on in the UK. They don't want you to know what's going on. In 1939, Churchill famously described the Soviet Union as a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. If only he had Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, if we're being formal, alongside him to guide him through those early months of conflict. The Second World War might have been all over within a few weeks. Luckily for us, we do have the benefit of his wisdom. Last month, the Duke of Sussex shared his thoughts on Ukraine, Donald Trump, and Vladimir Putin with the world. The world, it would be fair to say, was not as grateful for his insights as perhaps we should have been, given Prince Harry's lifelong study of Central and Eastern Europe geopolitics and his renowned expertise in diplomacy and statecraft. But our cup runneth over. Prince Harry has now turned his attention to the Middle East, to Israel, and to the British Jewish community. Indeed, to the very basis and meaning of Judaism. Time was when the attention of a royal, even a royal who is no longer a royal, would have led much of Anglo Jewry to doff its metaphorical cap to the purveyor of whatever attention we were given. We do, of course, say a prayer for the royal family every Shabbat. But while Prince Harry will always be from a royal family, he is no longer in the royal family. He is, in effect, some random bloke who lives in California with his wife and kids. But when you have as towering an ego as the Duke of Sussex seems to possess, why let your near total ignorance of the subject and your lack of any relevant credentials stop you from opining? And so today, he has written an article for the New Statesman on the Middle East, Israel, and the British Jewish community. It is as insightful and worth reading as you would expect. He begins with the usual fine words about anti-Semitism that anyone who is about to say something idiotic or worse always begins with, across the country, we are seeing a deeply troubling rise in anti-Semitism. Jewish communities, families, children, ordinary people are being made to feel unsafe in the very places they call home. That should alarm us, but also unite us, because hatred directed at people for who they are or what they believe is not protests. It is prejudice. Recent incidents, including lethal violence in London and Manchester, have brought this into sharp and deeply troubling focus. Indeed, he continues, we have seen how legitimate protests against state actions in the Middle East does exist alongside hostility towards Jewish communities at home. Then here comes the but. just as we have also seen how criticism of those actions can be too easily dismissed or mischaracterized. It's back to the old canard that those of us who point out what is actually being said and done on the protests against state actions are mischaracterizing them. How are we doing that? Prince Harry doesn't spell it out, but there's only one way in which we are ever accused of mischaracterizing protests against Israel: by pointing out their anti-Semitism. Thing is, no one is mischaracterizing anything. We are simply reporting what is being said and done on the marches. Then Prince Harry plunges off the diving board into the deep end. There has been little room for nuance, deepening the confusion that fuels division. That debate has also ignored the diversity of views within Jewish communities, including many who are openly and publicly critical of certain state actions. There you have it. For Prince Harry, there are some British Jews who, in effect, bring their troubles on themselves. But there are others who should be let off the hook because they are openly and publicly critical of certain state actions. And why the coyness about spelling out the word Israel? You think there's another state British Jews are expected to denounce? Prince Harry, you see, is not just an expert on geopolitics, on anti-Semitism, and on the nuances of Anglo-Jewry. He's also an expert on international law. We cannot ignore difficult truth when states act without accountability and in ways that raise serious questions under international humanitarian law. Criticism is both legitimate, necessary, and essential in any democracy. The consequences do not remain contained within borders. They reverberate outward, shaping perception, inflaming tensions. Ah, yes, it's Gaza, that it's leading to attacks on British Jews. Of course, nothing to do with naked anti-Semitism. It's all a response to Israel. We're back to denouncing Israel or getting what you deserve. But boy, oh boy, are we lucky, because Prince Harry is not just an expert on geopolitics, on anti-Semitism, on the nuances of Anglo-Jewry, and on international law. He's also a Torah scholar who can tell us what is and what isn't Judaism. Writing of Gaza, he decrees, the onus falls squarely on the state, not an entire people. Such actions have nothing to do with Judaism. Memonides, how have we coped until now without the insights of Prince Harry? Abraham Lincoln famously remarked that it's better to be silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. Indeed. And there you have it. You know, people outside of this little bubble that we share see Harry as a nuisance to society. You know, Jewish people are laughing at him because, yeah, it's exactly that. You know, Harry pretending that he's some mental health advocate and humanitarian when, like, the whole world is laughing at this guy. Why does he continue to keep doing this? I think the people behind him, or the fact that Harry is so insulated with yes people, they probably tell him all day long that he is so awesome and that he's making change and that his voice is so powerful. And I do think they shield him from a lot of the criticism that is seen. And when he does see that criticism, his ego is so fragile that that's when he starts taking this warped look about how so much hate is being sowed online when he himself has done a lot of damage. Am I right? I think it's really good that the Jewish community is not taking this BS seriously and calling him out for it, because all Harry is doing is using the seriousness of anti-Semitism to further this agenda against the Jews. But I thought I'd share the article because he is getting roasted online. Also, it's another way to tell everybody that I did this video earlier today that you should check out, especially towards the end of that video, which explains a lot as to what could be the reasoning for Harry penning this stupid op-ed. But definitely check it out, help the kid out. You know what YouTube does to us, and they definitely don't want the truth getting out there, the forces behind this evil agenda, which makes kind of sense because the video next to it also was shadow restricted, which included the congressional hearing that happened yesterday. So there surely is some type of restriction that might be coming out of the UK that they don't want you to see and know about, especially with all of these wonderful visitors going to the UK and taking over. You know what I mean? Anyhow, definitely let me know your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe and I will talk to you later. Bye.
It was such a fraud.